Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Plutonium Show.
Hello.
Thank you so much for joining us. Hope you all had a good weekend. We normally upload on Mondays, not Wednesdays, as you all know. But when we heard that Harry would be in New York and would be speaking at the Diana Award yesterday, because we're in Australia, we're ahead of you guys, so we would have missed out on that completely if we filmed yesterday. So here we are, a day late. Hope you can forgive us.
Ahead but behind.
It's so bizarre.
Annoying.
With lots to talk about. Last night, this is just really short tangent, I saw the wackiest movie ever at the cinema called The Substance. And the only reason I'm mentioning it is because I know a majority of our audience is female, and we also have older women in the audience. And it was a very wacky commentary on ageism, specifically when it comes to women. I don't know if I can recommend anyone go watch it because it is way out there. And if anyone else has seen it, let me know. But I came out of the movie and Zachy saw a different movie. So I came out of the theater and like, what was the look on my face?
Yeah, you were. I think you came out and the first thing you did was like just laughing at how ridiculous it was.
It wasn't ridiculous the whole way around. It was ridiculous towards the end, but I don't want to spoil anything. Go see it if you want to see the wackiest commentary, which is very valid commentary on female ageism in society. So that's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah.
For those of you who used to watch our older podcast back in 2021, 2022, you might remember an Ask a Lawyer segment that we used to run. I'm not going to reintroduce these, but I have been receiving a very similar question, not identical, but similar questions from a few people. And I've also been seeing a lot of commentary on social media about Harry being guilty by association when it comes to P. Diddy. I spent all morning listening to a podcast about the P. Diddy allegations, going through the indictment. And it really makes you question your own species.
Because before this, I didn't even know who P. Diddy was. And now this has happened. I'm like, whoa. And I've only heard the smallest snippets of it.
Yeah.
Like, what? That's all I can say.
It's the stuff of nightmares, another Epstein, another Harvey Weinstein. It just really makes you question what is wrong with us. And I know I say us as a collective, but we're all human. And you just go, how are you capable of any of this? As you all know, P. Diddy was arrested, incredibly serious allegations against him. He's probably never going to see the light of day ever again.
You would hope if justice prevails.
Yes. So what I've been receiving are questions asking me about, Prince Harry was photographed with P. Diddy, and isn't he going to be charged as an accomplice or as an accessory, or is he at all guilty or liable? Some people are not even asking questions. They're saying he is absolutely guilty. Mm-hmm. He must have seen things. He must have known things. I did a little bit of digging, and from what I could find in the public domain, Prince Harry and Prince William had only met P. Diddy in 2007 in connection with a charity concert for Diana. And P. Diddy was one of, along with Kanye West, one of the performers. They were there at the after party, and they took a photo together. And so Prince Harry's name has come up in the indictment as one of the famous people that P. Diddy has been associated with or seen with. And that's it. Obviously, no one is alleging Harry has done anything wrong.
Yeah. Also, Kanye was there.
Yeah.
And you said William was there as well?
Yeah, because it's a concert for Diana that they organized. And so they had a bunch of performers perform. It was a charity thing. It was basically for the 10th anniversary of Diana's death in 2007. So that was the extent of it. And yet people are saying, oh, no wonder Harry's going back to the UK more frequently. No wonder he wants to leave the US. He's fleeing because he's guilty.
It just sounds like P. Diddy was there at an event with William and Harry, not the other way around.
Yes, exactly.
When you say it, when people kind of say it, I feel like it's getting caught up in the whole, who's on Epstein's flight logs type thing.
That is what's happening.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if Harry went to other parties where he wasn't photographed and where it was kept hush hush. I don't know, but the information the public has is that that is the extent of it. P. Diddy would throw around Harry's name and go, oh yeah, I want to meet up with him, he's cool, but that was it.
Yeah.
So no, I really don't think Prince Harry is trying to flee the US to get away from justice. But let's play devil's advocate and say Harry was at a party. You still can't be guilty by association simply by being present at a party. And this applies to any other person who was at those parties. Now, the law is obviously different per state and per country. And you all know I'm an Australian lawyer. So sometimes there are some laws in states where if you see a serious offense, a felony in America, here they're called serious indictable offenses, and you fail to report it, you actually can be held liable. Some states, no such law exists. So it is variable. For the most part, knowing about something going on isn't enough. It has to be almost an active participation in enabling it or concealing it as well. And this is strictly from a legal perspective, not a moral obligation. Of course, morally, what is wrong with you people, everyone at those parties? You're just as monstrous as P. Diddy. And by the way, Oprah's name always comes up, doesn't it?
It does.
Yep.
She just keeps showing up all over the place.
Oprah's got some very dangerous liaisons. That sounds good for a thumbnail. Dangerous liaisons. So yeah, short of usually actively participating or concealing, aiding and abetting, it's unlikely that a lot of people will face consequences unless they did that. And I'm guessing his employees did that from what I'm reading. And a lot of people who knew him kind of helped him around. And yes, these people are probably in trouble. But Prince Harry in particular, I really do not see how.
Yeah, and to add to that, especially considering this is kind of a mini Ask a Lawyer segment, I think you would agree that the thing that you would do if this was a case in court, right? If you had Meghan and Harry on trial for whatever, is you wouldn't go for all the little bits that you can't entirely prove. You'd focus on the facts and the things you can entirely prove and your strongest pieces of evidence and your strongest cases, which is what I think everyone should do in this situation because they've done so much. It's not as if we're trying to nitpick to find, a crack in the fortress. No, they've already cracked 100 times over. And there's so much that we can criticize without, I guess, crossing the line into, well, what ifs, because as soon as we do that, we don't want to give them any ammunition. They're already reaching and we should keep them reaching. Yeah,
I agree. On to the main topic of the day. By the way, I forgot to mention at the start, we're kind of going to start structuring the podcast with, an intro. How are you guys doing? How have you been? Here's the latest news. And then there's going to be a main topic. And then at the end, it's kind of like a topics of the week segment. So smaller topics that we're not going to spend too much time on, but are still worthy of discussion. Sounds good?
That sounds good to me.
All right. So main topic of today. Why can't we stop talking about Meghan Markle's emails? Now, it's funny how they say emails, because if you're confused, this article is about the bullying allegations, which, as far as I'm aware, as someone who's been in the know for a few years now about, following the story.
Yeah, we might know a thing or two.
Yeah, it extends way more than emails, I think.
Yeah, this could have been a whole new topic, like a whole new thing. Oh, wait, there are emails we don't know about? No, you've taken a smaller snippet out of a larger issue, which is all the bullying. Why are we laser focused on emails all of a sudden?
Because her 5 a.m. emails are the least of her worries. And so they're trying to minimize. This is typical classic behavior when it comes to people who are actual abusers or have been accused of such behavior. They, if not deny everything, when it becomes overwhelming and they can't deny anymore, they start minimizing it. Well, it was just this. You guys are making a big deal out of this. Time to move on. I've moved on.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of something companies do as well. Companies will be exposed for doing 10 things, and then they'll apologize for the least serious one. Yeah. And so everyone will be like, oh, but they apologized. No. They picked the thing that they could easily sweep under the rug again with an apology. So it kind of feels like this all over again.
Yeah. So this article basically is shaming us all for holding on to this very petty topic of Meghan's 5 a.m. emails. Now, obviously, we don't need to, even deny the fact that this is coming straight from Meghan. I have evidence later that I can show you that this is definitely from Camp Montecito and not some kind of a MarieClaire, unprompted defense. Because come on, the media is never going to defend her unprompted.
Yeah, I think everything that defends her is just the Sussex Squad. Easily.
It's her as well.
Yeah.
Her sending out these pieces to MarieClaire, to People Magazine, to Vanity Fair, and going, hey, here's an exclusive, or here's what we want to say. Put it out there.
Yeah, do this. And because that's totally going to work for you, and you're totally not being added to a blacklist of, okay, now this publication is known to twist the truth.
Yeah. So it says it all started in 2018 when Markle was still in the royal family, and she was faced with workplace bullying accusations for her alleged treatment of staff, with much to do made of her sending off early emails. Again, I'm sorry, who's the author of this drivel? For some reason, the article doesn't have the name of the author, but yeah, I think you've got your story wrong right off the start, because barely any commotion was made over those 5 a.m. emails.
I didn't even know whether there were 5 a.m. emails.
You probably forgot, because I think we talked about it.
And this is probably what this article is hoping, is that most people forgot about the emails because the larger allegations were what we were focused on.
Exactly, yeah. The 5 a.m. articles were the least of her problems. I'm not saying that I condone some crazy boss sending you 5 a.m. emails and expecting you to respond. But that's not what Meghan expected them to do, by the way. And this is how I know this is straight from Camp Meghan. Because somehow, this is from GB News now, they know that Meghan's email signature contains the phrase, and I quote, "My working day may not be your working day. Please do not feel obliged to reply to this email outside your normal working hours." Sorry, I sounded like some kind of a robot from... Yeah, like those VI.
I was about to say, who's the VI assistant in Mass Effect? Avina.
Yeah, I was Avina. And this is a rebuttal straight from Camp Montecito. I mean, who else is going to come out in her defense and go as far as, look, this was my signature in my email. But that's her defense, going, I never expected people to respond to me that early. But that's not what we've heard from witnesses, actually. She absolutely expected them to respond that early, and she would lose her mind when they didn't.
And it's funny, you didn't even need to tell me all of that. I already kind of knew, because you can kind of get a feel for the sort of person she is to work with. Based on what we talked about the last 2 weeks, that's who she is. It's when she walks in the room, she is in charge, and she demands everything. And why is that any different if you get a phone call from her? I bet she doesn't stop calling once if you missed the first call.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I remember hearing or reading something about that, maybe Valentine Lowe article, or maybe his book Courtiers. I remember that specifically. She would basically blow up her staff's phones on Friday nights.
Yeah.
So absolutely spot on.
Which was the country that was going to make it illegal for people for their bosses to contact them after work hours?
Australia.
It was Australia,
yeah, so when I got an email this year, small business owner tax return kind of thing, and then it said we're introducing new regulations and new laws surrounding working conditions, and one of them I remember reading was it will basically be, I'm not sure if it's illegal, but we're going to use that word, but don't quote me, you can double check, for employers to expect their employees to be reachable, contactable, is that a word?
Yeah, contactable.
Outside of work hours, yeah.
It sounded so good. It sounded like something a European country would do, because we don't normally do stuff like that here. So
that's true.
I was just like, must be one of those European laws. I want to go over there.
Yeah. No, but it's us. I mean, a little late if you ask me, but better late than never.
Yeah.
So the article goes on to say, sending emails, still focusing on the emails.
Of course.
And never mind the PTSD and the crying and the screaming and the alleged throwing of the hot tea. Forget that. That's nothing. We've got emails to deal with. Sending emails at early hours may seem unusual to some, but for others, it's when they feel most productive. Or maybe it's when Markle is trying to get her work done before her kids are up and about, a task any mom can relate to. Can I just quickly say, because I know you have a lot
I've
to
got
say.
nothing.
You got nothing?
I'm speechless at this. Like, because all I can think is, how much copium are you taking? Like, my goodness, this woman would step on you and you're defending her this much. Sorry, I guess I did have something to say, but go on.
But they're not. Yeah. Anyways, what I was going to say was, I remember these reports coming out of Australia when she was pregnant with her first kid. What kids are you talking about that she had to take care of?
Oh, here we go.
She was living in Admiralty House in Sydney when this was happening, from what I could remember. And Archie was barely, you couldn't even see him. It was when everyone was like, can you stop with your crazy, bump cradling when you don't even have a bump?
Yeah.
I remember that so vividly. Yeah. Because we were completely not interested in them at that time. It was 2018.
Yeah.
But it was everywhere. I was like, okay, that's weird. It is kind of weird how she's holding her bump, it really was non-existent.
Yeah.
So yeah, what kids? Here's a hole in your narrative, MarieClaire, aka Meghan Markle's mouthpiece. She had no kids to take care of. She was basically on a paid for holiday in Australia to dress up in blood diamonds. Well, that was in Fiji, but part of the same tour, and meet adoring fans.
I wonder how many of those are left.
Yeah, right.
Wow. I can't believe that. It's just, there's so much that they're overlooking.
It gets worse.
And I'm probably going to keep saying that as we get through this article, because I genuinely cannot believe that MarieClaire thinks that their readers are so stupid that they're going to forget everything else. Like, at this point, they're insulting their intelligence.
I don't know if people are stupid if they forget. We have to remember, and I think we said this maybe 2 episodes ago, maybe last episode, how people in this bubble may remember everything, and we feel like it's common sense. You all know this, right? But then most of the public, even if they may not like Meghan and Harry, because they're not invested in the topic, they don't remember. And so MarieClaire and the likes and Meghan Markle are banking on that. They're banking on the fact that people forget because it's irrelevant to them. It's data dump.
So this is more of a recruitment for the Sussex squad, maybe.
What this is damage control.
Yeah.
After the Hollywood Reporter article that we discussed last week.
Yeah.
So they're trying to take hold of the narrative and go, look at the Hollywood Reporter making a mountain out of a molehill. So what if a woman sent an email at 5? And they go into that woman excuse in this article. So they say, moreover, labeling Markle as a dictator is not only reductive, but unfair. Women in leadership roles, especially Black women, often face harsher scrutiny than their male counterparts, with their management styles frequently dissected in a way that can feel personal.
Oh boy, we pulled the victim card, didn't we?
And it goes on. Assertiveness can be perceived as a threat when it comes from women, as many reading this story can likely appreciate. I have a thing or two to say about that as well. The expectation that Markle should fit into a mold of decorum that has been historically applied to women in the royal family only adds to the burden.
What decorum? What fitting into the mold? She's done nothing but refuse almost every single tradition that the royal family has ever asked her to do, even down to learning the national anthem.
What I find really perplexing is what mold of decorum? So you're telling me to be a decent human being, to not bully your staff to tears, to PTSD, to the point of quitting, is too much to ask for? That would be squeezing her into a mold of decorum? Being a decent human being is being squeezed into a mold of decorum now? And this is how we know it's straight out of Meghan's camp, because it's the usual broken record. I'm a woman of color. Last episode, we played that excerpt from her podcast of her talking about how she would tiptoe into a room and, every statement sounded like a question because she's so scared. She's a widow woman. When we know she's the exact opposite. She, as the Hollywood Reporter said, stomps in high heels and has reduced grown men to tears.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter because we're going to trust MarieClaire, right? We're going to trust them with facts as they whataboutism this entire issue. So, MarieClaire, do you not care about all the things that have happened, all the people who have been victims of Meghan? No, you'd rather just take that little paycheck they give you to write these articles.
Well, I'd love this author to go spend a week with Meghan.
Yeah.
Let's see if she gets reduced to tears. And I'm not wishing anything on her before someone says anything ridiculous, but just go spend a week with Meghan. Work for her. See what kind of a boss she is. Maybe more than a week. You know, people can hold on to their masks for a week. Maybe spend 3 months with her.
I agree. Yeah. Let's see all the colors. But, you know, unfortunately, especially when they want to play this victimhood woman, you know, stop picking on me because I'm a woman, even when a woman does something wrong. They're going to come in that defensive. It's going to be, well, she's a woman, so I'm going to let her get away with that. She's a woman, so I'm going to let her go. Already, you've picked the wrong person. But unfortunately, these people don't care about evidence either.
I think what really gets to me, and this is the point I said I'd like to say a couple of words about this, is this sentence. Assertiveness can be perceived as a threat when it comes from women. I have to say that on its own, prima facie, that statement can be true, depending on where you are in the world, your experiences. I'm not saying it's true everywhere. In my experience, it's been true. People see my assertiveness and my dominant personality as a problem sometimes. I see it in the comment section. Obviously, I've seen it in real life. And I can say for myself that I'm a decent human being. I don't hurt people. I don't harm people. I certainly don't bully people. And so I get that. But what Meghan is doing is not assertiveness. It's aggression. They're two completely separate things. Assertiveness is being confident, clear, someone who isn't afraid to have their voice heard. And normally, the confidence comes from a valid source.
Yeah.
You know, life experience, qualifications.
Knowing oneself.
Yeah, knowing oneself, which Meghan is a chameleon.
Yeah, she doesn't know who she is. No one knows who she is.
Exactly. She has no clue. Aggression is what she does. Threatening people, bullying people, screaming at people, blackmailing. I've said threaten, but everything that she does that makes people scared, it puts them on edge. That's not what an assertive person does.
No.
So can we stop conflating the two? Because they have nothing to do with each other. And it's offensive to assertive women like me who have already faced, this kind of double standard. Yes, that can exist. When a woman's assertive, it's seen as a bad quality. It makes us look bad. It confirms in the naysayers' minds that an assertive woman is aggressive.
Yeah, it's almost as if saying a woman should be able to do whatever she wants all the way to aggression, and we're just going to assume that as assertiveness. But here's a fun little game that people should play. If they're like, am I being sexist? Well, take the same actions and apply them to a man. Mm-hmm. So what's the difference between an assertive and an aggressive man? And apply those same rules. Is it okay if a man blackmails? No, it's not. So then it shouldn't be okay that a woman blackmails. So we want the rights of men, but do we want the equality of men? Are we going to let it slide when women do these things? Furthermore, I think that when you look at how men react in society, you have those men who walk around with their shoulders puffed up and they're trying to be strong and they're trying to be, macho and all that sort of gusto. And they're normally the weakest. But then you have those men who are just strong in their own right. And you just know that they're confident, and they're not the loud ones. Everything we've described about Meghan is so loud. The way she walks into a room is loud. The way she communicates with you over emails and phone calls is loud because she's screaming for attention. But true strength is not screaming for attention.
Yeah, no, true strength is actually quiet.
Yeah.
It just radiates out of the person. It's part of their aura.
Yeah.
I think Catherine is a strong woman.
Yeah.
She doesn't even need to say it.
Yep.
So, yeah, she's a good example of it. There are others, of course. I just can't think about them right now.
I mean, William comes to mind when I think of a strong man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because when I see William, even if it's a still photo, there's just an aura about them.
Yes.
And to further that point, what threatens people who are not confident is often that silent confidence, which makes those people act out. So when Meghan sees Catherine, she loses it because she wishes she could have an ounce of that confidence.
Absolutely. To answer the question, though, of can we move on already? Why can't we stop talking about her bullying allegations? Well, how about this? The perpetrator isn't the one who decides whether to move on or not. And the reason why we're still talking about it, MarieClaire, is because it's still happening.
Yep.
This isn't something that was left in the past in 2018. This isn't something that is peculiar to the royal family or the palace. This is something that has followed Meghan all the way across the pond, as the editor of the Hollywood Reporter confirmed. They've talked to 12 people at least who have been subjected to this behavior, both past and present. So we'll stop talking about it when it's not perpetuated anymore. When Meghan starts behaving herself and treating people around her as dignified human beings who are worthy of respect.
And one more step there as well. An acknowledgement of wrongdoing. That is the biggest one. Because she might put on another mask to be like, look, I'm treating people with respect now because I've been busted, right? But then she would never acknowledge what she's done. And acknowledging and apologizing for what you've done is an important step in getting better. But we all know Meghan's not interested in getting better.
No, because she thinks she's perfect.
Exactly.
All right, now for topics of the week.
Topics of the week.
Maybe we should make a jingle for that.
I will get to work on that.
I will see. In case you guys don't know, the intro jingle is composed by Zach here. Zach of all trades. No, Zach of all musical instruments.
Well, at least the popular ones. I can't play clarinet.
It's so random. So the reason we delayed this episode, Prince Harry in New York.
Here we go.
Now, I'm not going to go through his whole itinerary and, everything he's going to do. But in general, at least last night or yesterday, he was at the Diana Award, which makes sense because it's in connection with his mother. But what he was doing there doesn't make sense in the sense of what he was saying, what he was there to talk about. Can you guess?
Let's see. Something about bullying, maybe?
Connected.
Yeah.
Connected.
Something about being a good human being.
Yes. You want to know the two official reasons?
Topics? Give them to me.
Climate change and mental health.
Oh, mental health. Oh, that was so easy. I could have got that.
Well, that's why I said, when you said bullying, I was like, connected. Absolutely. Even being a good person, it's like,
oh, yeah,
connected.
Exactly. I'm just thinking of the complete opposite of Meghan and Harry.
Well, that's what this is. Climate change. I don't know if he flew in a private jet from California to New York. I have no idea. I'm going to guess he did. But this man uses private jets as though they were taxis.
Yep.
What climate change? We've talked about this for 3.5 years now.
Yep.
So I think you all know, we've said what needs to be said, just pointing out the hypocrisy. And that's why I said it's a pity it was the Diana Award, because it kind of made sense to have one of her sons there.
It did, but it couldn't have been the other one.
I think he's actually busy with
real royal duties. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to take away from the Diana Award, but yes, Prince William's schedule is like arranged 2 years prior from what I know.
Well, I say that because, anything that Harry's busy with, he's not really busy with. He's there because Meghan allowed him.
Well, she wasn't there, by the way, in case anyone's wondering. It's because she's sick. That's the official reason put out. She wasn't at the Kevin Costner fundraiser like she was last year, where she was snatching microphones because she was sick.
Give me attention.
Pretty much.
I need that.
Pretty much. If she is actually sick, hope she gets better. But yes, he's alone.
Right.
And what I was going to say, though, is it's so unfortunate that his mother's name is connected to this event, because now he has an excuse to show up and talk about climate change and mental health. And he talks about how he's worried about the future and the younger generations need to secure their future and, do all this work to save the planet. And I'm just like, while you and your wife and kids get on private jets, and while your wife bullies people and basically borderline commits elder abuse against Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip and her own father, does that not fall under mental health? The way he's allowed his wife to treat his brother's children doesn't seem very pro-future either. The future king of England.
It doesn't, because they're the future.
Yeah, exactly. They're the future. I mean, the allegations are that Meghan bullied little Charlotte.
Yeah.
Is that you caring about her mental health?
Yeah. And the fact that you would let some sort of monster like that into your family. Like, my goodness, how's that for preparing for the future, Harry?
So that's what Harry did yesterday, September the 23rd. Now, I believe he's going to be in New York for a few more days. And amongst the other things he's doing is an engagement for African parks.
Oh, is he going to address all the things that he hasn't addressed yet?
I wonder. Do you guys know it's almost been a year?
Wow. A year and he hasn't touched it?
It's almost been a year, not yet, but we're at the end of this year and this happened early last year. I Googled the news this morning just before we filmed to make sure there haven't been any updates about the scandal, in case you all need a refresher. The abuse suffered by the Baka people and other indigenous people in Africa at the hands of African Parks rangers. Harry's response was, I'm pawning it off to the people who can do something about this. And that was all we heard.
And has anything been done about it?
That's what I'm saying. I looked it up. Nothing. Nada. Zilch, as they say.
I'm handing it off to people who are going to do absolutely nothing, which is exactly what I was going to do about it.
Exactly. They're all cut from the same cloth.
Jeez.
So, yeah, you're going to go to an African Parks event. I wonder if there are going to be any reporters there with balls.
Yeah.
Who have the guts to do the right thing and ask him about that event. But we all know all these things are, the questions are all pre-approved, pre-submitted, pre-screened, whatever you call it.
Yep.
Because all these elites, these precious, vulnerable, thin-skinned elites don't want to be taken off guard.
No, we wouldn't want them to be unprepared for being held accountable.
Yeah, Oprah.
Nice. That was good.
Next topic is Meghan and Harry once again interfering in a roundabout way in the U.S. elections.
Oh, boy.
So obviously we steer clear of politics. We are not American, even though your politics affect the rest of the world. But
we're not touching it.
Yep. But basically on their Archwell website, which don't forget is under their Sussex website, which is officially listed on the royal website. So the royal family's website has sussex.com listed as an official, kind of subcategory. Hey, this belongs to the Duke and Duchess of Sussex,
yep.
Which means it's affiliated and royalty are apolitical, at least publicly.
Yep.
And so they put out this statement in honor of National Voter Registration Day. And they talk about how voting is not just a right. It's a fundamental way to influence the fate of our communities. At the Archwell Foundation, we recognize that civic engagement, no matter one's political party, is at the heart of a more just and equitable world. You have no idea what just and equity even mean, the two of you. You are the antithesis of these two words. More word salad.
Again, just who of all the people on this planet, they're the last people that should utter anything along those lines.
Yep. But I guess they try to cover their bases here by saying no matter one's political party. Their response to the backlash to this one is, but we did it through our foundation. It wasn't us.
Oh my gosh. Are you telling me that everything Amazon does is not a product of Jeff Bezos? Oh my goodness. Your foundation is tied to you and you are tied to your foundation.
They're the faces of their foundation.
We wouldn't know about Archwell but for the fact that Meghan and Harry are tied to it.
After that, I don't know if this was their way of, kind of avoiding more backlash or whether they just weren't invited. But Oprah held an event for Kamala Harris and Meghan and Harry, or Meghan in particular, was not invited or was not there. And the news are reporting that that's because she, as a duchess, has decided that it would be inappropriate. I must remain apolitical. And that's why she didn't show up. Don't know if that's true. I don't know if she would have given up a chance to be in the same room as these people. Julia Roberts was on Zoom, Meryl Streep, all people that Meghan would probably, saw off an arm to be seen with.
Yeah, and then try and upstage in her typical fashion.
Yeah, so I'm not too sure about her desire to be apolitical because she certainly didn't have that desire for the last 4 years.
I think she would just swing whichever way just inflates her ego.
Yeah.
Or gives her a paycheck. I think that's her political affiliation, which is the worst. It's got nothing to do with the morals or ethics of anything. It's just entirely who's going to stroke my ego today.
I think her only political affiliations or anything she does politically is to further her own agenda to become president.
Yeah.
I don't think she's let go of that pipe dream yet. It seems more and more ridiculous as time goes by, because we see more and more of her true colors and how unsuitable she is. But is she really unsuitable? I mean, politicians are the weeds of the galaxy, as my favorite person on the planet says. No, my favorite person in the universe says.
Yes.
Moving on to London's National Portrait Gallery. We've been to that gallery.
We have. It was lovely.
Absolutely lovely. I think we went twice in the same visit. I've been as a child. You could just get lost in it. And Catherine is the patron of the gallery. Now, why I am mentioning it is, if you all remember Misan Harriman, the photographer who accompanied Meghan to Nigeria and who also took this black and white photo of Meghan and Harry back in 2022. I believe this was maybe a day or two before the Queen passed. He submitted this photo to be displayed, I'm assuming, at the portrait gallery. But a couple of days ago, a spokesman for the gallery stated the portrait of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex was acquired for the gallery's photograph collection in May 2024. Following cataloging and its digitization, the portrait was added to our website at the beginning of this month. There are no current plans to display the portrait in the gallery. Pray tell us why it would even cross anyone's minds as the remotest of all remote possibilities that a portrait of these two, who have done nothing but insult the United Kingdom, insult Princess Catherine, the patron, insult the people of the UK, why would their two faces be hung in the National Portrait Gallery of the UK?
Only someone who is so full of themselves as Meghan could possibly think that that was even a possibility. It's almost like she thought it would just get under the radar and she would just have this easy win. I'm in Catherine's gallery. You can't get away from me. But it just, no.
It doesn't make sense. I don't even know in what delusional world these people live in. Misan Harriman. You really thought they were going to display? I mean, I would say, I really want to know actually, because I don't want to speculate. People of the UK, in our comment section, if you knew Meghan and Harry's portrait was going up in your national gallery, what would you think? What would you do about it? I would imagine you wouldn't be too happy.
I wouldn't be happy if they put it in an Australian museum.
Oh, I would not be happy at all.
And like that, neither of them affiliate with Australia besides us being a Commonwealth country. But even I would be like, what are these two doing here? I think it's bad enough that news publications talk about them in a positive light, let alone putting them in a gallery. And especially when you can find so much more art out there worthy of a gallery.
Exactly.
So many more people, so many more portraits, so many more photographers. You have your entire pick and you would put Meghan and Harry.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's not going to happen.
Thank goodness.
And finally, the latest polls from the UK have come in, revealing the most popular royals. I think we all know exactly what to expect. The Princess of Wales is the most popular member of the British royal family. So she has a favorable vote of 66%. Only 10% have an unfavorable opinion of her.
Interesting.
10% being paid off by Meghan. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. You're all entitled. Look, at the end of the day, we're not everyone is everyone's cup of tea, right?
Yeah.
Some people love you, some people hate you, and that applies to everyone. Prince William came second, 65% favorable rating.
That's
and
good for a future king.
Very good. And a small unfavorable rating of 13, 33. That's not small. 13%. And guess who's third? My favorite.
Who's third?
My favorite.
Aha! Princess Anne. Oh, that is so good. Because in my head, I don't, like, obviously we've been talking about royals for a while, but some royals I don't still hear about until, you know, we mention them, we talk about them, you make a video about them. So I didn't know Princess Anne before that. So to me, it's like being out here in Australia, she's unknown to me.
Yeah.
But it's so nice that such a strong woman who is probably assertive without being aggressive.
Yes. Oh my God, she's the best example, actually.
Yeah.
You know how I ran out of examples? Princess Anne, the epitome. It says here in this article, dubbed a badass.
Ha.
Yes, absolutely.
That is so good.
I've said in my video, I made like a little video about her last year in honor of her birthday. I said, I want to be her when I grow up, basically. Yeah. She has a favorable rating of 62% and only 9% had an unfavorable opinion of her.
Yeah.
Now, of course, you're all waiting for the Meghan and Harry ratings.
Drum roll, please.
So, only 28% of Brits feel favorably towards Harry, while a whopping 46%, almost 50%, feel unfavorably.
Damn, you screwed up.
Meghan is even worse.
Give it to me.
21% favorability. Who are you people? I really want to know. Who are you? And a 53% unfavorability rating.
I am surprised that is not higher, to be honest.
It probably is when you actually go out there and do like a survey of people on the streets.
Yeah.
But in terms of YouGov polling, maybe it's not as accurate.
I mean, I skip online surveys all the time.
So do I.
Yeah. So I imagine there are people out there who are just too busy to do these things. But still, 53%, over half of voters don't like you.
Yep. Prince Andrew actually fared the worst.
Oh.
So, yeah. I think that's about all we have time for today.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add?
I think that's it's always a perfect note to end on, isn't it? The favorability poll. Yep. I think that just does it.
All right. Well, if you're happy, I'm happy. I hope you're all happy. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you again for joining us. I also really want to thank those of you who tuned into the last video I put out. I found Queen Victoria and Prince Albert's love letters and other correspondences and her personal diary in a royal archive. And I was so moved and touched by them that I had to make a video about it. And, you know, it's one of those videos where you kind of know it's not what your audience is here for and it's not going to get as much traction, but it's still worth putting out. And as I've said before, I get so sick and tired of just talking about Meghan and Harry. That is not the future of the channel if it's going to have a long life, because I'm just going to basically go mad.
Yeah.
If that's all I do. I'm happy to talk about them, obviously, because it's all about exposing them. But at the same time, it can't be the only thing. So thank you all so much. It's a tiny video, really, in terms of the views it got, but such lovely comments. And if you haven't seen it, you know, maybe I'll push it your way.
Can you put it here? Does this work?
The thumbnail?
Put it up here.
Yeah, there you go. And if you want to get away from the drama of the world and just lose yourself in a 19th century romance, real life romance, not fiction, because we all love, we love the Pride and Prejudices. Why don't we love Queen Victoria and Prince Albert's romance? Go ahead and give it a watch and support your local creators. All right, everyone. Oh, and Zach, you were Prince Albert in that video. People loved your performance.
Oh, yes. I did do a little bit of a voice there. Just a little bit. So
people loved that touch so much.
Another team effort from Pluto and Zach.
Yes. And hopefully more in the future.
Yeah, bring it on.
All right, guys. Have a great week ahead of you. I'll probably see you at the end of the week with another video. And until then.
See you in the next one.
Take care.